My name's Jamie Farr. My wife and I, Callie, we are founders and trainers at YourNorth Limited. We are mental wellbeing trainers, and we specialise in accredited first aid for mental health training. We provide wellbeing workshops and coaching packages. Um, my wife and I, we've got 41 years experience in the military,
Wow.
bizarrely as aircraft technicians. Um, it was the last few years of our service in the Royal Air Force that we became teachers. So we started teaching engineering to the young kids that were coming in from straight from college and university. And bizarrely, we kind of, as we met, we went on some kind of crazy CPD journey, and we just wanted just like to learn more and more. And we'd been on so many courses that eventually we started delivering the courses and designing the courses and providing these professional development training packages for staff and students all across the tri-service arena. And I think for us, the biggest thing was the impact that it had. And we didn't realize that we would, really make a difference the way we did and at the speed we did. We trained well over 100 military staff for the last 18 months of our service. And one guy in particular, when we did a 5-day human performance course, which we loved, which we were really passionate about delivering that 5-day course. And in the middle of the course, we do a lot of discussion on language. And I remember talking about positive questioning to this gentleman, and he didn't think much of it at the time, but when he came back the next day, he was kind of in tears. He was everything had changed for him. He'd eventually gone out with his daughter that night, and rather than the habitual conversations that he was used to having, like "How was your day at school?" And to getting the habitual answer of "Yeah, fine, thanks," and everyone carried on with their normal routine, he stopped for a moment and said, "Did anyone make you smile today?" Which sparked an inspirational conversation, and he couldn't thank us enough for opening his eyes. And that, to me, that was the reason why we do what we do. And it was at that time we both decided that let's leave the military, let's go and do this for everyone, not just for the guys and girls that wear a uniform. We can really reach out now, and that's when the journey started for us. I would say probably about 2 years ago. Um, yeah, it was an inspirational journey, one that we never thought was going to happen, but when it did, the light bulb moment really hit us. That's a really good question. I think I think the second we started training and delivering, I kind of knew that I was going to end up working for myself. It was at that point where I started teaching, and I think that I can speak for my wife Callie on this because she's very similar. Is that we spent a lifetime in the military around structure and around being guided about what we can and can't do. And there was a lot of things that we couldn't talk about during our training that we really wanted to. And it was at that point where we thought, there's so much more we can do, but we can only do that if we work for ourselves because we remove the restraint. And it was that restraint, it was that them rules that allowed us to really spread our wings and grow as trainers. So yeah, great question. That's it's made me think a bit more about that and reflect. But definitely the freedom, artistic license, say, to really be ourselves. Yeah, great question. I think I make a lot of comparisons to the routine of my day. Definitely, I think if I'd left college or university um, where I think your routine is kind of mixed. It's dependent on lectures. You don't have to get up at a certain time, but some days you do and some days you don't. I've literally, since the age of 17, been at work for 8 o'clock, or whatever shift I'm on at the time. I've always been at work for that right time, wearing the same clothes as everybody else, or polished shoes and iron clothes. So I'm definitely used to a routine. without that routine, I almost feel like I've lost my purpose. I have to gather my thoughts. But essentially, I think there's a lot of transferable skills, definitely. Um, there's a lot of self-discipline in the military. As you move through the ranks, people stop telling you what to do, and you have to start telling others how to engage with their work. And all of a sudden, you have a lot of responsibility. So having responsibility for others definitely helps me reflect on how to be more responsible for myself. So yeah, definitely transferable skills. Um, I think, though, to be honest, the biggest key for me is that the passion is the driver. So I'll probably get up earlier than I would have for the military. I'll probably go bed later because I just want one more thing that I'm keen to achieve. You know, obviously without burning myself out, there's an element there of control. But I think the passion, if you've got that, I'm not sure if your previous experience really matters. I think the passion is your driver. I think that will what keep you motivated. That will set your schedule and your routine. How do we balance the work-life balance, as you like to say? I think it's definitely a scale. We're definitely adding weights constantly to keep it from tipping. Um, we launched the business in lockdown. We launched in March, a face-to-face business where we were unable to be face-to-face. And that is definitely the point where I questioned everything that we were doing, and the pressure mounted. We started homeschooling. We were starting the business with everything that was involved with that, which, as you know, is huge. There's so many things to do. And we had the arrival of my daughter, my newest daughter, who at the time when we first started was 5 months old. So, you know, our eyes were down here with paperwork everywhere, and you know, and an 11-year-old that demanded schoolwork. So there was a lot going on, and we kind of scrapped the term work-life balance because the order didn't matter. It was just getting life in balance, and it was all about swapping, handing over the baton. We're in a fortunate position where there's two of us. You know, my wife is, you know, extremely talented when it comes to training delivery, training design. The social media skills that she's gaining over the last few months have been incredible. And she's really, really done wonders for the business. And it's allowed me then to focus on some of the delivery. You know, so we've worked really well as a partnership, and I think that's what's kept us in balance. You know, with regards to everything that's going on, but we've also kept a very keen eye on the future, knowing that we will be back in the classroom, that everything we're doing now is temporary, and we've really stuck to our values. And one of our core values for the company is adaptability. We had no idea what we were going to do in the beginning, no idea. You know, lockdown happened, pandemic kicked in. We cancelled all the classrooms that we booked all through the summer, which we were devastated about. But you couldn't let that beat us. We thought, no, these people have booked with us. How else can we do this? So distance learning happened, Zoom happened. You know, we could still maintain that face to face. We could still deliver, which was the accredited first aid training that we were offering, and we could still maintain that accreditation via Zoom, which was brilliant. So keeping all that together, we're working hard in the background. It let us stay true to ourselves, and we kept that balance just right. So good question again. Love this. Putting me on the spot. So why did I join the 5 to 9, and how did it benefit me? Okay, I'll go back to the beginning, because when we started having serious conversations about starting the business, I would say it was about 18 months ago. We had no clue what we were doing. We were moving from the West Midlands to South Wales. I didn't have any friends or no networking in the area. Everybody was, you know, the other side of the country. You know, for me, it was quite difficult. So I started to research online, and then, you know, I found a Blaenau Gwent business hub. And I spoke to a wonderful lady called Sarah Jeremiah. Through I would say it was a chance meeting. I literally, that day, it came up on the computer that Sarah Jeremiah was kind of visiting local libraries, and she was just offering an hour or two, over time, so she could discuss business startups to potential entrepreneurs. Which I thought, oh, this is brilliant. It's exactly what I need. So popped over to Tredegar, to the library. Sarah was just sat in the corner on her own. I was like, is this right? Hi, introduced myself. And she hit me with a ton of information. You could tell she was instantly passionate about what she was doing. She obviously, understood our passion and why it is I wanted to do what I wanted to do. And she signposted me directly to the 5 to 9 at Welsh Ice. So that evening, straight online, booked onto the Treorchy cohort. At this point, I think I'd just booked on, and Eilish was just about to be born. By the time the course had started, she was 5 days old. So we were like, right, let's just do this because we need this. And the way that the 5 to 9 was sold to me, in that it covered every aspect of business that I knew I needed to address, but had no idea to what extent in the detail. Everybody, I think, has an idea of the main areas of starting a business, but they don't know the detail until you delve into it. And that course really delved into it, and it allowed me, week after week, to spend what I'd learnt that evening, to spend that week researching all of those things. And then I'm ready then, 7 days later, for the next evening to start another week's worth of research in a different area. By the end of it, I had a business plan I was proud of, and I was really happy. Leslie, wow, Leslie Williams, what an inspiration! Full of energy, loads of knowledge, really well connected, and exactly the kind of person you want on your side when you're, beginning this, this epic journey of business startup. So yeah, started with BG, met Sarah Jeremiah, straight onto the Treorchy cohort, which happened, a couple of weeks after I'd been informed about it. Once we'd finished that, I got a great business plan. We even got funding from BG, thanks to Sarah, and some of the bid writing from the grit sessions that Welsh Ice offered. And then, fortunately for us, we were accepted on the Ice 50 scheme with Jamie McGowan, which was great. And now we're fully fledged Welsh Ice members, which is awesome. So yeah, it was a very, very quick but really informative, great start for us. 5 to 9 was epic. So you can see that the benefits from that were huge. It filled in the gaps of knowledge that I needed in order to start properly, because you can feel like you're there, and then someone will just tap you on the shoulder and say, "Have you done this?" Like, oh. So that's why I'm so grateful for that 5 to 9 Club. It really did fill in the gaps and give us the best start we could possibly need. I think the word that you used is visible. That's the key. There's so many skilled people that want to take that step that don't, because of the people that are around them, essentially, that say, oh, it's so much easier if you just get a job. Think of that steady wage, and there's nothing wrong with saying that, because it's absolutely right. But, who are we to pour water on someone's fire? We're not. If someone's burning and want to do something, let them go for it. I think visibility is the key. So skilled people being given that artistic license, that freedom to explore their passion, that is what people need to see around them. When they see someone succeed, that ripple goes far and wide, doesn't it? People go, oh, if they can do it, I can do it. And look how well supported they were on their journey. That's great. That's what I want. But they can have that, because, you don't need a pocket full of money to get that support, because that support is free. That's the beauty of it. The support is free. The community is free. The people there want to help, which is the most important thing. I've received loads of help, but we've helped others as well. And that feels great. That gives us an extra purpose to it. It's reciprocated everywhere. I think um, when you get that kind of community, when you get that sharing of information, um, and you get that sense of belonging and purpose, that can only just mean one thing, a boost to the economy, more people having a go. Um, think of all the people that wouldn't have started a business had someone not given them that little bit of encouragement on a 5 to 9, because we supported each other. I've seen loads of people say, oh, this is probably not for me, but you could hear others go, why? Explain why. And they'd explain why, and they go, you can do this because of X, Y, and Z. And I'd be like, yeah, you're right, I can. That was the motivation that someone needed. And who knows where they'll end up? Who knows how they will benefit not just, the Welsh economy or, the community, but how much they're going to benefit themselves and their family. I mean, just having that purpose and that ability to be themselves. I'm a huge fan of it. And the 5 to 9 definitely started that for a lot of people. So visibility, let everybody see what you're doing. The more people that see it, the more confident they'll be, and who knows, maybe they'll have a go. Biggest lessons and challenges. Wow. Okay. Um, Researching my customers. I definitely, in the beginning, just assumed that everybody would be my customer, purely on the basis that everybody's got an interest in well-being. Everybody would like some coaching, and everybody that's got a job would probably appreciate some, official accredited first aid for mental health training, so they can help the workplace and be that go-to support network. That's not the case. That's not the case. I really needed to research, you know, exactly who would benefit from what I had. Um, you don't, you know, and with that in mind, I think I made a few advertising errors in the beginning. I think not necessarily financial impact to us. I didn't spend a lot, but I think I just aimed it in the wrong place. And I didn't realize just exactly who needed what. For example, the first aid for mental health training, that's a part of a bigger picture. So my customer isn't somebody that I'm going to a large business that employs loads of people. My actual ideal customer is a HR department that I can work with, that I can go into the business and say, oh, there's a few people in here that maybe aren't supported as they should be. You have a fantastic physical first aid net support network, but you don't have one for, mental health. In which case, let's work together, which obviously meant then that I had to adapt what I was doing. I'm no longer just a trainer of first aid for mental health. I'm a consultant. I'm somebody that has seen it working in the military in a large organization. And I take that information and I help them with it. I don't just train them and give them a certificate. I actually help to change that culture. And I didn't see that in the beginning. I just saw myself as a trainer. And that was a mistake. But I only learned that through researching my customers. And that was something that was prompted on the 5 to 9, something that I just ticked and said, yeah, I've done that. No problem. I know who my customers are. And I guess that was a big lesson for us. That was a huge lesson for me. If I'd have thought about that more in the beginning, I think we'd have had a much faster beginning, a much more responsive approach. So that was a big lesson. I think, and I'll use the term self-talk, almost like imposter syndrome. Regardless of how confident I was in a uniform, stood in front of classrooms full of people that were well educated, and more so than me in many cases. That's quite a hard audience when everybody's super educated and you're stood in front of them trying to talk about subjects they know more than you about. But that confidence level I had could have been shattered the second I walked out of those camp gates and took the uniform off. I could have felt like somebody different. And I think a lot of people can relate to that when they move from jobs to self-employment. That transition can be difficult. And a lot of what you say to yourself you can talk yourself out of doing something that is important. You know, there's an element of imposter syndrome. You can have negative self-talk about yourself. I'm not good enough for this. But you really, really need to get a grip of that and focus on the passion and the why you did why you started. Because why you started is, well, it's what you're passionate about. It's that belief, that self-belief that made you say, I could do this for a living. I could be my own boss and I can make a difference. So don't let any negative self-talk after that stop that journey. Just maintain, just go back to what you first said to yourself and keep that, let that echo on your journey, and you'll do well. You'll do well. Can't forget where you started. That's the key. Definitely. Stick to your values. Something we revisited quite regularly. You know, I blogged about it not long back, that during lockdown, I completely forgot what our values were. I was focused on different avenues of employment. I even considered getting a job at one point, which I'm embarrassed to say. However, revisiting those values just made me pull up my big boy pants and get on with it, because I knew that we'd be successful if we persevered. So yeah, there you go. The best piece of advice I've been given, and would I pass it on? Absolutely, I have done. I passed it on loads. Be bold, be brave, stay true to yourself. Authenticity is key. Okay, so I pondered so many things during lockdown, because, like I've said, one of our key values is adaptability. So where do we go next? I think the last, I would say, 2 to 3 months, we've been really sociable online. Not necessarily in real life. We've had no choice, but we've been very sociable online, and we've met up with some really great companies and great people. A lot have approached us because they say things like, love your values, love what you stand for, love what you're doing. Boom, and those conversations start straight away. We're going to be rolling out some projects next year based on these collaborations that we're really excited about. One of which in particular may lead us to be training all over the world, which I'm really excited about. Potential trip to Africa and all over the world. So really keen to see where that goes. I think what's also important is we have some valuable service knowledge from the military. It is, because we've got, like I say, 41 years experience between us. That's the kind of service knowledge that we can use to help veterans that have left. I know how difficult that transition can be, especially if you don't know what you're going to do when you leave. There's a lot of things in place to help them fully understand that, but there's nothing wrong with one more person, one more company like me and Callie, to really give these guys and girls some support that they might need. How we do that is still under discussion. We have loads of ideas, but the beauty is we've got loads of people getting in touch now saying, oh, this is a great idea. So helping veterans is going to be a great arm to our business, and we plan on doing that locally in South Wales. There's a lot of support needed. There's a lot of support there. So we're going to do what we can. And like I say, we've made some great friends on the way. Momentum is building with the veterans, so we'll see where that goes. I think in many respects, we're all about passing on some advice as well. So like I said to you before, we focus on the why we started, because that's that passion that keeps you going. It's that passion that allows you to persevere. I think with our service background, with our experience within the aviation industry especially, I think there's some good contacts there that could be made in South Wales. There's some big aviation companies that maybe benefit from our help. So I'll be looking at contacting those over the next couple of months. It was something I'd not thought about in the beginning. I've got to be honest. I kind of felt like I needed to put that to bed and move on. But you can't forget where you've been and what you've done, because all of that knowledge, all of that experience adds a lot of value to what it is we're doing now. And I can move forward with that, and I don't want to waste it. So there's some good companies out there that I think we can really work with and help. So very much looking forward to 2021. Wow, that is an awesome question. Oh, where do I go? What do I ask for? I would say what I've found with starting this business, which is really interesting, because if I'd have spoken to somebody beforehand and they'd have asked me that question, I'd have said, well, oh, I don't know. If I was starting a business, I'd probably need money, or I'd probably need advertising, or X, Y, and Z. And I've slowly come to realize that the most important thing is connections. Connections, connections will bring all that later. I'm in no rush for anything. But the more people that are interested in what we do at YourNorth, the more people that I can help or would like to collaborate with us, I think is the best way for us to move forward and the best way for this company to grow. So I would definitely say reach out to us on social media. If you want to start a business yourself, ask us questions about business styles. I'm happy to help all day long. If you've got advice for me, I'll take it all day long. I'll never refuse free advice because it's been golden. It's absolutely worth its weight in gold. Um, so yeah, definitely touch base with on social media. My wife, she loves Twitter. She's all over it. We, she when Theo Pethitas Small Business Sunday, I got King of recently. She hasn't got Queen of yet. She's not happy. But yeah, I mean, Facebook, we've got a great community group on there that doesn't focus on business. It focuses on well-being and helping each other out, talking about great things. So pop yourself on there. It's called My North on Facebook. The more people that are on there, the better, because there's some great things being shared on there. So please have a look at those and just reach out. If we can help, we will. If you can help me, I'm happy to listen.